Everyone hear me okay with this? Is this picking up pretty well? How about you guys over there? Can you hear me okay? All right, great, thank you. Well, thank you very much for listening to me talk when you really would rather be eating pasta and rolls tonight. I'll try and keep it brief and punchy and get it over with quickly and let you guys get back to your meal. But I know there's one person that I met today who's not here, and I know why. This guy's name is Phil. And the reason why he's not here is because he's going to go watch the Indians play tonight, eat a bunch of hot dogs and beer. And as Phil and I were talking, he reminded me, in the best possible sense, of a guy that you'd be familiar with if you've read the book, Barefoot Ted. And the reason why is, as I'm talking to Phil, who seemed utterly unconcerned by the fact that in about 12 hours he's going to be lining up to run a really long distance, it was something that I learned from Barefoot Ted 6 years ago, and it took me until now to really appreciate it. And what Phil and Ted have in common is something that's really hard to talk about with marathon runners at any point, because once you say it, you no longer have credibility with that. But I'm going to put it out there anyway. What these two guys have in common is they're not running out of fear, they're running out of fun. And if you ever mention fun to marathoners, right from the get-go, you can just hear their ears snapping shut. They don't want to hear it. They're not out there for fun, right? They're out there to be tough and to Boston qualify and to overcome the pain and to show that they can do it. But some of the most impressive runners and some of the most impressive running coaches that I've spoken with over the past 6 years have gotten back again and again to the pleasure principle. Not the limits of what's possible, but the limits of what's pleasurable. So here's Phil tonight, and Phil told me that the reason why he's going out to a ball game tonight eating hot dogs and beer is because last year, for the first time, he did back-to-back marathons. He did Boston and then Big Sur. If you're familiar with Big Sur, that's a hell of a lot of marathon. Boston stuff, Big Sur has got a lot of vertical climb, a lot of hills. Phil told me he was really concerned about Big Sur because he'd never done one a few weeks after Boston before. But as it turned out, he ended up feeling a lot better in the Big Sur marathon than he did in Boston. And the reason why was he couldn't care. He couldn't care less. He had no expectations. In Boston, he was nervous and anxious and pushing for a hard time. Big Sur was just gravy, so he showed up, relaxed, and ended up feeling better at mile 18 in Big Sur than he did in Boston beforehand. I had a similar experience with Barefoot Ted. If you guys haven't read the book, then I can't come up with a better selling point than getting inside the adult brain of Barefoot Ted. And if you are familiar with the book, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Barefoot Ted was running the Leadville Trail 100 this past summer. And according to logic that only is logical to Barefoot Ted, he decided he'd run the whole race in his own homemade sandals until he got to the really, really dangerous, tough, rocky part where he felt it probably safer to do it barefoot. So Ted ran up and down Hope Pass, where you start at 10,500 feet, you climb to 12,500 feet, and back down again, then back up and back down again, fully barefoot, between miles 40 and 60 of a 100-mile race. Then he put his sandals back on and kept on running. So I had agreed to pace Barefoot Ted for the last 13 miles. So around 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm waiting for him at an aid station in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. He's been running since 4 o'clock the previous morning, and Ted comes running into the aid station, and he sees me, and he's so delighted that I'm there, he goes, "Okay, that's it, I'm not running anymore." I said, "Ted, you're 13 miles from the finish line." "Oh no, I'm going to finish, but we need to catch up. I haven't seen you in a long time, we haven't had a chance to talk, let's catch up." I said, "Ted, it's a race, dude, it's a race." "Nope, we haven't caught up with each other, we need to chat." So for the next 4 hours, as we're running through the woods, Ted was talking non-stop. But at the same time, he's passing people. He's like wafting on by people who've got the 1,000-mile stare, their heads are down, they're pushing hard, and behind them you hear blah, 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 behind them and around them and onward. And people are just sort of watching him go. And after like 3 or 4 miles, Ted would get kind of winded on a hill, and he said to me, "Okay, I can't run this hill and talk at the same time. I'm passing the ball to you. You talk, you keep me entertained. How's your family doing?" I said, "Well, Ted, I'm pretty... You know what I love about your family? Your wife, she is so..." And on he goes, talking. But as we passed this one person that Ted knew, and Ted said, "Hey, Bob, how's it going? I've taken this race, and I've turned it into a chat fest." And the guy goes, "I'm not surprised." But what Ted ended up doing was finishing the Leadville Trail 100. They give you 30 hours for this race. More than 50% of all people who enter this race will never finish, never get to the finish line. The vast majority of people